We learned in part 7 that a variable can hold only one single value. For example, we can write int x1 is equal to 1, and then we can write int x2 is equal to 2. Suppose you want to store 100 different values. Now, this means that you would have to create 100 different variables. But in some applications you might need even more than that. To overcome this problem, C# has introduced arrays. An array is a group of variables of the same type. And each variable or data item in an array is called an element of that array. The data types of the elements may be any valid data type like char, it can be an integer, a string, a double, etc. But how can we declare an array in C#? An array can be declared using a type name followed by square brackets. For example, if you want to define an array which you are going to use to hold integer values, you would write int, then square brackets, and then the name, so numbers in this case. If you want to create an array to hold string values, then you can write string, then square brackets, and next student names, for example. And if you want to create an array to hold the double values, you can write double, and then let us say student results. In C#, an array can be declared and initialized at the same time using the new keyword. So for example, at line 10 we have declared an array of type integer, but we have not initialized it. If you want to initialize it, we can use the new keyword, so for that we can write equal to new, and then new integer. Now, when you initialize an array in C#, you need to define the length as well. So for example, we want to have an array of length 5, for that you just write 5 in there. If you want to have another one of length 10, then you can write new string and then define it to be 10. Or if you want another one of length 4, you can just write new double and then 4. In C#, you can initialize an array and then you can add the values at the same time. So inside curly brackets write all the values. Let us say 5. Then I want to have 6.5, 10 and 11. You see, we defined an array of type double with length 4, and we can define inside here only 4 values. So if I try to add another one, 5.7, we will get an error which says an array initializer of length 4 is expected. So let us remove the additional value. But of course you don't have to always provide the data when you initialize the object, because arrays can be initialized after you declare them. For instance, let us take the numbers array. The numbers array has the length 5, and if we want to assign a value to the numbers, we can just write numbers and then in the index 0 add the value 10. And if you want to add other values, you can just write in here numbers 1, numbers 2 and numbers 3. But since the length is 5 and an array stores values starting with a 0 based index, we can go up to 4. So number 4 is equal to, let us say, 9. Let us change the other values as well, so let us say 7, 2 and 5. If you want to see the results of this array, you can use a for loop or a for each loop. So let us use a for each loop. For that, for each var number in numbers console.writeLine, and then in here display the number. Control F5 to see the result. So in here we have 10, 7, 2, 5 and 9. To do basic operations on arrays, we can use different helper classes. So for example, let us use the array helper class to sort these values. For that, write array.sort and then define the array that you want to sort. So let us write in here numbers. If we run the application one more time, we are going to see that they are sorted from 2 to 10 in an increasing order. And if you want to reverse the values, you can just use the reverse method. So for that, let us write in here reverse. And then Ctrl F5 one more time. So here now we see 9 to be first and 10 to be last. So this was all for this part, but before we move to the next one, it's important to know that an array stores values starting with a 0-based index. The size of an array must be specified while initialization. An array values can be accessed using an indexer. An array can be single-dimensional, it can be multi-dimensional or jagged array. But on this part we just talked about the single-dimensional arrays. And last but not least, the array helper class includes utility methods for arrays. So in our case we just talked about the sort and reverse methods, but if you want to find out more about this class, you can simply right-click and then go to definition. So here you can see all the other properties and methods that you can use with the array helper class.